Hey girls and guys, I'm going to do a little question and answer today from a viewer that sent in a question and I'm going to answer it. But first, I want you to do yourself a favor and make sure that you subscribe to my YouTube channel and also hit the notification button. Okay, so we're going to get right to it. So this is from Denise and she sent me an email and asked me a few questions, but one in particular I'd like to go over. And that is, did I work full-time jobs or part-time jobs while I was starting out? Or she said, did you just decide it was all or nothing? And I'm going to go over the answer in full. And so these are things that I would suggest that you do as well. So the answer is I did both. So let me break that down. I've had a million jobs in my life, and let's see, I used to, when I was in high school, I cut lawns, I did some construction. Um, I, the one of them was I worked at a liquor store. I washed dishes when I was really young, when I was like 13 years old, 14 years old, 15 years old. And then when I was, I think in my last year in high school, I drilled. I got into the back of the big concrete trucks that have the big. Well, they would have me climb in there with a jackhammer and a sledgehammer and all these like breathing apparatus and stuff to go over your ears because it was super loud. And I would jackhammer cement out of the blades, the leftover cement that would accumulate in there. And that was a brutal job, and it would get to be 1,000 degrees in there, and you'd have to get out every 15, 20 minutes. So I've had a ton of jobs, when I was younger, and of course, and then I was a bartender, and then I was a personal trainer, and I trained some acts like Eminem and Limp Bizkit on their tours, and I trained Michael Stipe from REM, the band REM, and a few other people. Anyway, so I've had a bunch of different jobs. So while I was doing music and while I was starting to do my professional career, so to speak, I had a job and I was doing it on the side. So I would go and play like one gig a week, maybe on the side while I was still working. And at that time, I was working in real estate. And so my advice, or just I guess just my experience, was that it took me a long time to work my job, be working my jobs, and like taking baby steps and dabbling in performing and playing out. And at that time I would do like some showcases here and there for free, and I would play solo acoustic. I worked up enough songs, enough basically covers, and so that I could play solo acoustic at bars and restaurants, and I could make like $150 to $250 per gig, and I would do that a couple of times a month. And then basically what happened with me was I was in real estate and the real estate crashed. So I've been doing what I'm doing now. Basically, I started for real about 10 years ago. And about 10 years ago, 2009, 2008, 2009, was the real estate crash. And I lost all my money. I was doing pretty well, and I was playing maybe once a week at tiki bar gigs and stuff like that. And then my life totally disintegrated because I lost all my money. It was all tied up in the real estate market, and I lost everything. And I decided, well, what I really want to do is music, so I'm going to, along with Smidge, I decided that I was going to move to Nashville, and she decided she was going to move as well. And so I had no money, and we had no money, and we were basically decided to start our whole lives, kind of careers over again. And we moved to Nashville, and I just had to, I decided that I was just going to do music, and I was going to make a living playing music, and it was extremely hard. But so to go back to the original question, did I work full-time jobs, part-time jobs while starting out? Yes, I definitely did, and I did music on the side. And then the second part of the question is, or did you just decide it was all or nothing? Well, at that point, when I lost everything basically, I decided it was going to be all or nothing. I was going to start everything over, and I was going to go to Nashville, which is notoriously difficult to find gigs paying any kind of money, and that's how I started over. So, you know, there's a lot to be said for having a job and kind of, you know, and doing it as a side, doing music as a side thing, and learning and gaining experience, and, you know, booking your own gigs, and, you know, getting your feet wet and taking baby steps. And then there's a lot to be said for saying, okay, I have, you know, this much experience, and for me, it wasn't really a decision that, you know, that I was like, okay, I think I'm ready now. It was a decision where I was like, oh crap, my whole life is falling apart. Do I want to rebuild my life being in real estate, or do I want to rebuild my life being a musician, singer, songwriter? And that's what I wanted to do, obviously, more. So I've sacrificed a ton in the past 10 years to make that a reality. But it was definitely, you know, there's a saying, you know, like, sometimes you just have to burn the boats, meaning you have to storm the island, you have to attack the island, so to speak. There's this old story, old fable, I believe it was, that this little small army was going up against this huge monolithic army, and the captain, you know, said, all right, we're going to take the boats, we're going to storm the beach, and then we're going to burn our own boats. So there's no looking back, there's no plan B, there's no way you can back out. And they won that battle because they were the more motivated. When you're literally hungry and starving, and you have to go out to play at the Star Cafe in, I'm not sure if it's Donaldson or what, but right outside of Nashville, just to eat. And I used to play it in East Nashville at this ribs place that's still there, and they would just pay me with dinner, and that was it. And that's how. But we were so poor that that's what we had to do. We were living in a condemned in a trailer in the back of my friend's yard, in the back of his house in East Nashville, and we didn't have showers, we didn't have a bathroom, nothing. We had to go to the YMCA, and we got a membership at the YMCA just so that we can go there and take showers. So I hope that gives you guys an answer. So sometimes, you know, at the beginning of your journey, you might want to have a job and do it on the side. You know, go and book your own gigs. You know, start with open mics if that's where you are, and then work your way up to playing, you know, cover song bar stool gigs is what I call them, playing at bars and restaurants, which is great. You can go, you can make $200 a night, play a bunch of covers, throw some of your own songs in there, and you can make money, you know, on the side of your regular 9-to-5 job, or whatever your other job is, by playing at bars and restaurants, you know, once or twice a week if that's what you want to do, and then do that for a while and get comfortable, you know, learn all the things that go into it. And at some point, if you feel like, okay, I want to do this for real and I want to make this work, then you should decide to burn the boats, you know, all or nothing. Go all in, don't have a plan B, and just make sure that you have to get it done, because it's the greatest motivator of all. If it's all or nothing, then you will find a way to book those gigs, and you'll find a way to book bigger and better gigs, and to build your fan base, and to make more money, and to make it so that you can make a living. And that's what I ended up doing. Ended up playing like 6, sometimes 7 gigs, sometimes 8 gigs a week when we were living in Key West, and I would go and play 3-4 hour gigs, and that's how I made a living for a few years. And while I was building up the rest of my, trying to get the bigger band shows and playing at mostly at festivals. So I would play a bunch of solo acoustic gigs, and then I would play, I would get like, all right, let's try to get these festivals, and then I would book one festival, and I'd play like one festival a month, and then I kind of grew it from there and started opening for people and all that stuff. So do me a favor, do yourself a favor, check out howtobookgigs.com for your free mini ebook. It's a little guide, and then I have a whole video series that you will get for free to follow up with the book, and it's at howtobookgigs.com. And thank you very much, Denise, for the question. And always remember to subscribe. I appreciate it. Thanks for watching.